particularly the part about your work as a secret CIA assassin. What do you say when people ask you about it?
Well, I don't answer that question. In answer to reporters, I'll never say one way or the other. Never.
Della
my
or
wife.
your wife? Or,
no.
Chuck Barris was the unpredictable genius behind some of America's most eccentric television moments. From the dating game to the Gong Show, he turned quirkiness into an art form. But what if there was more to this enigmatic producer than just game shows and laughter? What if, behind the glittering lights and outlandish antics, he was living a double life as a covert CIA operative, carrying out dangerous missions around the globe? That's exactly what Barris claimed in his shocking autobiography. Was this outlandish confession the truth, or just the ultimate prank from the master of chaos? Today, we unravel the life of Chuck Barris, exploring the boundary between entertainment and espionage, between brilliance and madness. Who was this man who gave us some of the most unforgettable and bizarre moments in television history? And could there be a deeper, darker truth behind his legacy? Chuck Barris was born on June 3, 1929, in the bustling city of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. His early years were rooted in a middle-class Jewish family, with his father, Nathaniel Barris, working as a dentist, and his mother, Edith, maintaining their household. Chuck wasn't the only one in his family destined for a brush with fame. His uncle, Harry Barris, was a renowned singer, songwriter, and actor, best known as a member of Bing Crosby's Rhythm Boys. With such colorful influences, it's no wonder Barris developed an interest in creativity and performance from an early age. Growing up in Lower Merion Township, just outside Philadelphia, Barris attended Lower Merion High School, where he began honing his knack for storytelling and sharp wit. His time there set the stage for his later adventures in show business, but it was during his college years that his passion for media began to take shape. Barris enrolled at Drexel University, an institution known for its innovative cooperative education programs. While pursuing his studies, Barris became a columnist for the school newspaper, The Triangle. His writing showcased a sharp intellect and a flair for humor, traits that would later define his career in television. Philadelphia in the 1940s and 50s was a city undergoing cultural and industrial shifts, and Barris was immersed in its dynamic energy. The city's vibrant post-war economy and burgeoning media landscape provided fertile ground for a young, ambitious dreamer. Barris was no exception, and his formative years in this environment played a significant role in shaping the man he would become. Barris graduated from Drexel in 1953, armed with a degree and an eagerness to make his mark on the world. In his early professional life, he took on a variety of odd jobs, but his sights were always set on the entertainment industry. While his path to success wasn't immediate, his experiences in Philadelphia gave him a foundation of resilience and creativity that would prove invaluable. Little did the world know, this unassuming young man from a quiet Pennsylvania suburb would go on to revolutionize the entertainment industry and create some of the most infamous moments in television history. But Chuck Barris wasn't just destined to become a game show innovator. There were darker, stranger claims lurking in his future, claims that would forever blur the line between reality and imagination. As we take a closer look at Barris's life, his origins in Philadelphia remind us that even the most extraordinary journeys often begin in the most ordinary places. From the halls of Lower Merion High to the classrooms of Drexel University, the seeds of Barris's creativity and ambition were planted early, and it wouldn't be long before they blossomed into something truly extraordinary. Chuck Barris's journey into the entertainment industry began with small but significant steps. After graduating from Drexel University, he landed a job at NBC in New York, where he started as a page. It was an entry-level role, but one that gave him a front-row seat to the inner workings of television. Barris absorbed everything he could, learning the art of production and the flow of live broadcasting. This early exposure planted the seeds of his future success. His big break came when he joined American Bandstand under the legendary Dick Clark. The music program, which was revolutionizing how America experienced pop culture, gave Barris first-hand experience with the fast-paced world of television. He thrived in this environment, learning to balance creativity with the logistical demands of production. Though he worked behind the scenes, Barris's sharp mind and innovative ideas were already making an impression. It wasn't long before Barris transitioned to ABC, where he found himself in the role of daytime programming executive. In this position, he evaluated pitches for new game shows, determining which concepts would make it to air. However, Barris grew frustrated with the ideas being submitted. He was convinced that his own concepts were more exciting and relatable than the ones he was reviewing. Determined to prove his point, Barris decided to take matters into his own hands, setting the stage for his creative breakthrough. In 1965, Barris founded Chuck Barris Productions, marking the start of a new chapter in his career. His first major success came with The Dating Game, which debuted the same year. Hosted by Jim Lang, the show was a fresh and playful take on matchmaking, featuring a bachelorette or bachelor asking humorous questions to 3 hidden contestants. Its unique blend of comedy, flirtation, and lighthearted suspense quickly captured the audience's attention. Barris had tapped into something special, a formula that entertained while celebrating the awkwardness and excitement of human connection. Following the success of The Dating Game, Barris introduced the Newlywed Game in 1966. Hosted by Bob Eubanks, the show explored the dynamics of newly married couples by putting their relationships to the test with often embarrassing and hilarious questions. The chemistry between the contestants and the unpredictable, sometimes risque answers created television gold. Audiences were hooked, and Barris's knack for creating engaging, quirky content became undeniable. Both shows revolutionized the game show format, moving away from traditional question-and-answer setups to more personality-driven interactions. Barris understood the power of tapping into relatable emotions, romance, humor, and occasional awkwardness, and presenting them in a way that felt authentic and entertaining. His ability to capture the spirit of the times and translate it into television made him a standout in the industry. By the mid-1960s, Chuck Barris was no longer just a behind-the-scenes figure. He was becoming a major player in television, with a production company poised to churn out hit after hit. His creations were fun, unexpected, and occasionally controversial, but they resonated with viewers. Barris had an uncanny ability to connect with his audience, understanding what they wanted even before they did. As we look back at this period, it's clear that Barris wasn't just creating game shows, he was creating cultural phenomena. His innovative approach, willingness to take risks, and unorthodox ideas set him apart in an industry often hesitant to stray from convention. And while these early successes were impressive, they were only the beginning of a career that would go on to redefine entertainment in ways no one could have predicted. In 1976, Chuck Barris unveiled what would become his most infamous creation, The Gong Show. At its core, it was a talent show, but with a twist that turned it into a spectacle unlike anything television had seen before. Contestants from all walks of life took the stage to perform acts that ranged from the genuinely impressive to the utterly bizarre. But the real star of the show wasn't the talent, it was the chaos. Barris himself stepped into the spotlight as the host, bringing his trademark unpredictability to every episode. His hosting style was anything but polished. He danced awkwardly, made offbeat jokes, and reveled in the absurdity of it all. Barris wasn't trying to be a traditional MC. He was the ringleader of a televised circus. The result was a program that felt spontaneous and raw, a deliberate rejection of the polished and predictable nature of most game shows of the time. The signature element of The Gong Show was, of course, the gong itself. At any moment, the panel of celebrity judges could interrupt a performance by banging the gong, signaling the end of the act. It was an act of both mercy and mockery, and the audience loved it. The show thrived on unpredictability, with some acts genuinely delighting the panel and others earning jeers and the inevitable gong. It wasn't just a competition, it was a celebration of failure as much as success. The judges' panel added another layer of hilarity. Regulars like Jamie Farr, J.P. Morgan, and Artie Johnson became beloved fixtures, their over-the-top reactions and banter contributing to the show's anarchic energy. And then there were the recurring characters, Jean-Jean the dancing machine and the unknown comic, who delivered jokes from behind a brown paper bag. These elements combined to create a unique cultural moment, a show where anything could, and often did, happen. While the Gong Show attracted a devoted fan base, it was also met with significant criticism. Mainstream reviewers called it tasteless and accused Barris of pandering to the lowest common denominator. He was derided as the king of schlock, with critics dismissing the show as an affront to good taste. Yet Barris was unapologetic. He embraced the chaos, arguing that the show was harmless fun and a reflection of real, unfiltered humanity. "Let me ask you something," he said in defense of the program. "Which does more harm, a silly gong or the violence you see on evening dramas?" Despite, or perhaps because of, the controversy, the Gong Show made an indelible mark on television. It challenged conventional ideas about what entertainment could be and who could participate in it. Barris wasn't interested in showcasing polished professional performers. He wanted to give everyday people a chance to step into the spotlight, even if only for a few minutes. It was a democratization of entertainment, where the absurd and the ordinary shared the stage. Barris dubbed himself the King of Daytime Television, a title that spoke to his influence and the sheer volume of content his productions generated. But critics saw him as a provocateur, pushing the boundaries of decency for the sake of ratings. Barris didn't shy away from this reputation. Instead, he leaned into it, becoming the face of a show that was as much about challenging norms as it was about making people laugh. By the time The Gong Show ended its original run in 1978, it had cemented its place in pop culture history. It was garish, unpredictable, and often ridiculous, but it was also groundbreaking. Barris had tapped into something primal, a love of spectacle, a willingness to laugh at failure, and an appreciation for the unexpected. The show wasn't just entertainment. It was a phenomenon that dared viewers to embrace the chaos. Even today, The Gong Show is remembered as a symbol of Barris's fearless approach to television. It wasn't about perfection or polish. It was about creating moments that were raw, real, and unforgettable. In his own chaotic way, Barris redefined what television could be, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire and confound in equal measure. In 1984, Chuck Barris shocked the world with his autobiography, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. The book wasn't just a recounting of his time as a television innovator. It was a wild and audacious claim that he had lived a double life as a CIA assassin. According to Barris, his role as a game show creator and host was merely a cover for covert missions that took him across the globe. The idea was as outrageous as it was intriguing, and it captured the public's imagination. Barris alleged that after chaperoning winning couples from the dating game on their dream vacations to exotic destinations, he would slip away to carry out assassinations for the CIA. He claimed to have been recruited by the agency in the 1960s, trained as a hitman, and sent on missions in Southeast Asia, Latin America, and the Middle East. He described these assignments in vivid, often brutal detail, recounting a life filled with danger, secrecy, and violence. It was the kind of story that seemed too fantastical to be true, and yet it was delivered with such conviction that it left readers wondering. The claims drew swift and emphatic denials from the CIA. Spokespeople dismissed Barris's allegations as absurd, stating unequivocally that he had never been employed by the agency in any capacity. "It sounds like he's been standing too close to the gong," one spokesperson quipped, referencing Barris's infamous show. Despite the denials, Barris never backed down from his story, maintaining a cryptic stance that kept the mystery alive. In interviews, he would neither fully confirm nor deny the truth of his claims, leaving a cloud of ambiguity around his supposed exploits. What motivated Barris to make these assertions? Some biographers and critics believe it was a deliberate attempt to generate publicity. By the mid-1980s, Barris's career had cooled, and his once dominant presence in daytime television was fading. A sensational claim like being a CIA assassin was certainly one way to reignite public interest. Others, however, speculate that Barris may have been grappling with personal struggles or seeking to rewrite his narrative in a way that gave him a more dramatic and mysterious legacy. The 2002 film adaptation of Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, directed by George Clooney and starring Sam Rockwell as Barris, brought these claims to a new audience. The movie blended fact and fiction, presenting Barris's life as a surreal mix of showbiz absurdity and deadly intrigue. It played with the ambiguity of his claims, leaning into the idea that the truth might be stranger than fiction, or that Barris, ever the showman, might have been crafting the ultimate performance. Dramatic reenactments from the book depicted Barris carrying out hits in exotic locales, smuggling sensitive documents, and even receiving awards for his alleged service. These scenes, whether in the book or the film, were as gripping as they were implausible. Yet, the sheer audacity of the story kept audiences hooked, and Barris's refusal to provide clear answers only deepened the intrigue. Biographers and analysts have offered varying interpretations of Barris's claims. Some see them as a satirical commentary on the absurdity of fame and the ways in which public figures can construct their own myths. Others view the book as a reflection of Barris's inner turmoil, a way to channel feelings of alienation or dissatisfaction into a larger-than-life narrative. And then there are those who wonder if there might be a kernel of truth buried within the exaggerations, a possibility that keeps the legend alive. Whether or not Barris' claims hold any validity, they have become an inseparable part of his legacy. The idea of a game show host moonlighting as a government assassin is so outrageous, so uniquely Barris, that it feels like the natural evolution of a man who thrived on blurring the lines between reality and performance. For Barris, the truth may have been less important than the story itself. In the end, Barris's allegations added another layer of mystery to a life already filled with contradictions. Was he a master storyteller weaving a fictional tale for attention? Or was there a hidden side to his life that we'll never fully uncover? Whatever the answer, the claims ensured that Chuck Barris's name would be remembered, not just as a pioneer of television, but as one of the most enigmatic figures in entertainment history. While Chuck Barris's professional life was filled with chaos and controversy, his personal life carried its own heavy burdens. Among the most devastating events was the loss of his only daughter, Della, in 1998. At just 36 years old, Della passed away from a tragic overdose of alcohol and cocaine. The pain of losing her left an indelible mark on Barris. Despite his public persona as the quirky, upbeat game show host, this loss exposed the vulnerability and grief he carried behind the scenes. Barris's personal relationships were also marked by struggles. His first marriage to Lynn Levy, the niece of one of CBS's founders, ended in divorce after nearly 2 decades together. While their marriage produced their beloved daughter, the pressures of fame and Barris's relentless work ethic strained the relationship. He later married Robin Altman, but this too ended in divorce in 1999 after years of challenges. It wasn't until his third marriage to Mary Claggett that Barris seemed to find some semblance of stability, spending his later years with her in relative quiet. Amidst these personal struggles, Barris attempted several comebacks in television. After selling his production company for a reported $100 million in 1980, he stepped away from the spotlight, only to find himself drawn back time and again. In the 1990s and early 2000s, he sought to revive some of his earlier hits, including The Gong Show. However, these efforts never quite recaptured the magic of his earlier successes. Barris himself admitted that television had changed, and his brand of quirky, irreverent humor didn't resonate with modern audiences in the same way it once had. Frustrated by the evolving industry and perhaps seeking a fresh start, Barris moved to France for a time. There, he embraced a quieter life, focusing on writing and reflection. It was during this period that he penned several books, including Della, a memoir of my daughter, a deeply personal account of his grief and love for his child. Writing became an outlet for Barris, a way to process the pain and complexities of his life while still maintaining a connection to his creative spirit. Despite his attempts to stay out of the spotlight, Barris's past always seemed to catch up with him. The release of Confessions of a Dangerous Mind as a film in 2002 brought renewed attention to his life, reigniting debates over his controversial claims and eccentric persona. While the movie reintroduced Barris to a new generation, it also reminded him of the criticisms he had faced throughout his career. Yet, in true Barris fashion, he continued to deflect and laugh off much of the scrutiny, never allowing others to define him. In his later years, Barris lived quietly with Mary Claggett in Palisades, New York. He largely avoided public appearances, preferring instead to focus on his writing and personal peace. His health, however, became an increasing concern. Diagnosed with lung cancer in the 1990s, Barris underwent surgery and a lengthy recovery. Though he survived the ordeal, it served as a reminder of his own mortality. Barris passed away on March 21, 2017, at the age of 87. By then, he had become a figure of intrigue and contradiction, part pioneer, part provocateur, part enigma. His later years reflected a man who had endured tremendous highs and lows, both personally and professionally. Fame had brought him wealth and recognition, but it had also exposed him to harsh criticism and deep personal losses. Chuck Barris left behind a legacy that continues to captivate, confound, and spark debate. His influence on the entertainment industry is undeniable. Long before reality television became the juggernaut it is today, Barris was pioneering a genre that embraced raw, unscripted humanity. Shows like The Dating Game and The Gong Show broke the mold of traditional programming, shifting the focus from polished professionals to everyday people. In doing so, Barris laid the groundwork for the reality TV boom, inspiring countless formats that celebrate the unpredictable and the unconventional. His eccentric, unorthodox approach changed how audiences engage with entertainment. Barris understood that television could be more than just a polished production. It could be messy, chaotic, and deeply relatable. His willingness to push boundaries and embrace absurdity opened the door for shows that followed, from talent competitions to reality programs that thrive on awkward humor and unexpected moments. Without Barris's influence, it's hard to imagine the television landscape as it exists today. Yet, his legacy is far from straightforward. The claims he made in his autobiography, Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, remain one of the most enduring mysteries in modern pop culture. Was Barris a CIA assassin, traveling the world to carry out covert missions under the guise of a television producer? The story seems fantastical, and the CIA has consistently denied any connection to him. Still, Barris's refusal to fully confirm or deny the allegations keeps the question alive. It's a mystery that fuels his legend, casting a shadow of intrigue over an already colorful life. The controversy surrounding his life and career is a testament to his ability to provoke thought and challenge perceptions. Critics often dismissed him as the king of schlock, accusing him of lowering the bar for entertainment and exploiting his contestants for laughs. Yet Barris saw himself differently. He believed he was giving people a chance to shine, however briefly, and creating a platform where the ordinary could become extraordinary. His shows celebrated human vulnerability, turning awkwardness and imperfection into something joyful and memorable. Barris's cultural and historical significance extends beyond his television creations. His willingness to blur the lines between reality and performance, between sincerity and satire, set him apart as a true original. He thrived on the unexpected, whether it was in the absurdity of the Gong Show or the audacity of his CIA claims. His life was a performance, and he reveled in keeping audiences guessing about where the truth ended and the act began. In interviews, Barris often reflected on his career with a mix of pride and humor. He acknowledged the criticisms, but never apologized for his approach. To him, television was meant to entertain, to evoke laughter and surprise, and to create moments that people would talk about long after the credits rolled. Whether through his shows, his books, or his enigmatic personality, Barris succeeded in making an indelible mark on pop culture. Today, Barris's influence can be seen in countless modern game shows and reality programs that owe their existence to his daring innovations. Shows that celebrate the quirky, the outrageous, and the unexpected continue to draw from his blueprint, proving that his vision was far ahead of its time. And while the world may never know the full truth behind his CIA claims, that mystery only adds to the enduring fascination with his life. Chuck Barris was a man who refused to be boxed in by convention. He was a creator, a provocateur, and perhaps, above all, a storyteller. Whether spinning tales of espionage or crafting unforgettable moments of televised chaos, he left behind a legacy that defies easy categorization. His eccentricity, his audacity, and his unapologetic embrace of the bizarre ensure that his name will remain a subject of intrigue and debate for generations to come.